So today I'm going to be going over a couple useful shortcuts along with some marquee stuff and more selection tools, because selection is a big part of Photoshop. So as we went over before, the magic wand tool selects colors, and you could set the tolerance up here. And I'm also going to be telling you a few handy shortcuts to use in Photoshop along the way. You could also look these up on Google, but these are just some of the main ones I use. So if you have something selected, if you do Command D or Control D on a Mac, it'll deselect what you have instead of going up to Options and clicking Deselect and creating a new layer. Well, I usually just use the button down here to create a new layer because that one makes a blank layer, and for deleting them I usually just hit delete instead of dragging them to the trash. And to create a new layer that's exactly like the layer that you're on, you do Command J or Control J on a Windows. And now you see over here I have an exact layer. So that's one that I use a lot. And B is brush, like the paintbrush, and your square brackets control the brush size. Instead of going up here, if you use the brackets, then you can make the actual radius of the brush a lot bigger or smaller quickly while you're painting. And then to adjust how hard the brush is, you hold shift and use your brackets. And see how in the top left up there, when I move my brackets up and down while holding shift, it gets a lot harder and softer. So see, with a soft brush, if I start erasing with a soft brush, I'm gonna make my brush soft by holding shift in the brackets. It'll shave it off into a more gradient-like look, and if you use a hard brush, then it'll just be a flat eraser line. So soft brushes look a lot better a lot of the time, depending on what you're doing. So then Command Z or Control Z is back up one step instead of going to the history palette and clicking the last one. And those are the basic ones I use. And you can use as many as you want. There's hundreds that Photoshop comes equipped with that you can use. So I guess I'll show you the lasso tool first. And the lasso tool isn't actually that convenient. It can be used well, but usually people just end up messing it up. There's some aspects of it that are good, but it's not normally a tool I use. So the normal lasso tool, straight off out of the box, is just designing a line around what you want. So when I use the lasso tool, it's just like drawing with a pencil. You click and you drag your mouse, and you try to drag in a shape around what you want as close as you can, and then you let go once you reach the other thing. And another handy shortcut, which is the same shortcut as creating an exact layer, is Command J. Once you have something selected, if you do Command J, it makes a new layer with just the selection. So that's one of the main shortcuts I use. And the magnetic lasso is the other lasso that's actually pretty good for stuff like this. Is you click and drag, and it'll actually, here, let's do Control Z. I'm gonna go back, hit enter, go back. So then you use the magnetic lasso, and you actually just drag it along this, and if you do it pretty slowly and carefully, it actually kind of sticks itself to the side of the line, and this can be pretty good. It's not the fastest way to do it, but for learning, I guess it's alright. could come in handy if you have a really clean shape like this. Whoops, messed up there. Yeah, so then you just do Command J, make a new layer, and as you can see, it's pretty good. And let's see, the other thing I was going to show you is the marquees. The marquees are really good for cutting out stuff like this, where there's not a solid background that you can trace around with the magnetic. See it works alright, but it doesn't do the best job. So, if we use our marquees, I'm going to use a circle for these plates, and you're going to want to go up here and click Add to Selection instead of just the normal New Selection. So you click and drag for your marquee. Here I'm going to create a new layer with Command J. You click and drag with your marquee and try to get it the best you can, and then you hold Shift while you're still holding your mouse to drag the actual circle around, and then you match it up to the edge and you let go of Shift to warp the shape again, and you repeat this process in order to get the cleanest looking circle you can get. And let's see, that's pretty good for now. So then once you have your shape, you let go, and then you click Add to Selection again, and you drag another one. And then here I'm just going to do this pretty quickly, but you can get good shapes and see how they merge into each other. This is because you clicked Add to Selection at the top instead of New Selection, so they're all merging into each other. So if you spent a little more time with this, you can get them to match up exactly. For the sake of the tutorial, I'm just going to do it kind of bad. Alright, so then you have this little space in the middle. You could just drag it over, add that to the selection. Then you do Command J, make a new layer, and now you have your plates that have no background, and you can use them for other things. You can go up here and drag them into this, place them in here, see how that looks a lot better. And you select stuff like this because if you just tried to drag in this whole layer into here and wanted to make the bunny eating off of a plate, hold on, that's still the wrong, there we go, then you couldn't because it's not selected properly and it's just a whole picture pasted on top of it. It doesn't look good at all. So then you could just delete that layer. And that's pretty much the whole point of selection. And you can play around with different marquees, try out your magnetic lasso, and next lesson I'm going to show you what selection I use the most and I think is one of the best selections that Photoshop provides for quickly selecting stuff. And it is underneath the magic wand, and it's called the Quick Selection tool, and it's very useful. So I'll be showing you that next lesson. Comment, rate, subscribe. Just hit 100 views today, so pretty happy about that. Yeah, leave some comments. I'd like to hear what you guys think of these, and make sure to keep trying your color bunnies, because I'm gonna let you submit those in about 9 days on March 30th. So keep working on those. Start working on them if you haven't seen it. It's called Project 1 Color Bunny, and I'd really like to see what you guys have been learning and what you can do with all these tools that you've learned. Alright, thanks guys.